Hi, I'm Ross Thomas and you're watching Inner Truth, at the place where we look for the insights in the greatest of us. You can find out more about us at the end of the video, but for now, enjoy.
Blanc was a most brilliant and quickest study I've ever known. He did not originate voices. We would decide what kind of a person it was, and then we would have him try out voices until we got the one that was relative to that character. Because great actors, of course, do not change their voice. They don't talk through their nose and so on, with the exception of this one. Yes, that was done for a particular reason. But basically, what you want to do is the inclination. What is the character thinking about? Who is he? Like Grim Natwick used to say, one of the tools that an animator has. Grim Natwick is one of the great animators of our time. He said one of the tools that an animator must have is how a horse trots, subdivided by how a fat horse trots, subdivided by how a thin horse, subdivided by a colt who trots entirely different. You have to get the sense of what the character is, what he has in mind. When Bugs Bunny is running, he's different than when he's running in agony by being chased, and he is when he's chasing somebody. So every action is dictated by what goes on inside of you. You have to be able to think the way the character thinks. So I would go over the story. By that time, I'd done these maybe 500 drawings for each picture. And each scene was broken down into that. I remember one time seeing a thing was in the newspaper. It said the United States population broken down by sex and age. That was a wonderful idea. Broken down. Of course we are. We're all broken down by sex and age. So so what I had to tell Mel then was to go over the story and tell him what the intent of the character is. And then we go through and do the voices, and because he couldn't very well talk to himself, I would read the line of Daffy Duck, and he would read to him, and he would respond with Bugs Bunny. And then we'd reverse it, I'd be Bugs Bunny, and he'd be Daffy. They weren't recording me because that was immaterial. I couldn't give the character, I wasn't an actor, but I knew what I wanted in each line. And I knew how long they had to be, because look, if we had given any actor the right to do anything he wants to with a voice, what would happen to the length of the picture? So very realistically, we had to keep absolute control over the lines. And once in a while, I would ask him to do something that was a little different if I felt I had a little room to move around. And I know one time after Daffy had a terrible time with Bugs on something, when he said, "You're despicable." But he's so frustrated. And actually, this came about because one time somebody was playing a trick on Rich Hogan, one of our writers, and Rich was so mad at him that he couldn't say anything. And he said, "You smart pig." And that came from like when he was 7 years old, right? Here's a grown man, and Davey Monahan, who was the writer, said, "What did you call me?" And Hogan said, "I called you a smart pig." Well, they died laughing because they thought about it. So I said, well, that's what I want Daffy to do. He can't think of what to say. And the only word that he knows is despicable. So I want you to see, you're not only despicable as you're pickable, and I never see anybody so despicable in my life. And I let him play with that, see, and use as much as I could. But basically, he understood that he would stay within the parameters of what the words were supposed to be saying in the time they were supposed to be saying it. And sometimes it's very difficult. I mean, I couldn't understand how anybody could be as versatile as he. In one of his pictures, he did an octet, and he had 8 characters, and he did every one of them. And he's a fine musician, too. Well, he was great, but when his son or anybody else says that he wrote the lines, he never wrote any lines. I mean, in live action, you wouldn't permit anybody you wouldn't put an actor to write your lines for you? No, come on. I mean, it's insulting to a man of his abilities to contend that he wrote the lines.
Thank you for watching Inner Truth. You can find out more about our Unorthodox Art School, Creative Agency and Life Transformation Program by clicking on the link below, or alternatively, please feel free to explore our other videos. Good luck and be inspired.